this is the introduction to FL Studio basically. Now, I'm going to basically be explaining how FL Studio works in general. I'm going to basically give like a quick crash course on how things work in FL Studio, right? So basically, we're just going to start with the menus. And obviously, we have this menu here. This menu being the file, edit, add, patterns, view, options, choose, help. As you can see here, the file here we have you can basically create like a new project here, new from template, save. You can save, you can also save as, just like how we do in Microsoft Word and the rest. And we have export, so you can export as a WAV file, mp3 file, OGG, depending on the type of file that you want to export. You can also import MIDI files, so you can use in your projects. And these are recent projects that you have worked with basically. So I have worked in my case and in this context. Right, so over here we have add. Now add here is basically going to bring out a list of plugins that you have already installed in your FL Studio. You can download them, you can buy them and install them in your FL Studio. Now this is the patterns. The patterns is basically something that is I'll get to that point. So basically the patterns here is just saying that we can create first pattern, second pattern, third pattern. We can like arrange these patterns on this grid, and then we should be able to use them in our projects, arrange songs and loops and stuff so that they can make complete sense. Right, now we have the view. Now the view here is basically going to be talking about we have a playlist, right? Playlist piano roll. So the view here is just going to be talking about how the screen, the things or the parts of the application that we're going to have to be displaying on the screen. So if I turn on this, you are basically going to see the piano roll, right? And I can just take it off by clicking on it again, and then you can see that it has been deactivated, hence taking it off. And yeah, you can control a bunch of other things over here, turning them on and off. You can close all windows, you can close all plugin windows as well. You can also undo your history. Basically, you can do a bunch of things. Now when you come to the options, you have like a bunch of options to work with. This is where you can like configure your MIDI hardware, working with like external gears with your projects. You have the audio side where you can basically set up your input output drivers. If you're using a sound card, you have an option. I think for some sound cards you can use the ASU for all V2, and yeah, but since I use a USB microphone, I just use the FL Studio ASU basically. And we have the buffer length and all these things. They also control recording and stuff like that, so you can have access to how your audio is inputted or outputted basically from here. Now in the general side, you can basically deal with general configurations in your system, right? The GUI and the zooming in and all these little things, right? That don't worry, we'll get into details into some of these things, so don't worry if I'm going through them fast. But we have the file section. File section also deals with how you manage your files in the project and all these things. And we have the theme, which came out with the FL Studio 21. So if you don't see themes, you might probably be using FL Studio 20 and below. So this is default, the carbon, the clean bean, dark prism, granite, lo-fi, basically a bunch of themes you can work with in your projects. Now we have the project itself, right, and you can also configure a bunch of things, right? You can configure how you work, the saving life cycle of your projects and other things. You have the info. You can basically put in the metadata of your projects in here, and yeah, a bunch of actions you perform are going to be displayed here. So the things you click on, the things you work with basically are going to be displayed here. And then we have the about section where you can unlock your FL Studio and do stuff like that basically. Now basically I'm gonna go to this section here. This section basically, this is the volume controller, the volume fader. Basically it helps you regulate the level or the intensity of the volume in general. This also handles the pitch. This is a lower pitch, and this is a higher pitch, and this is just the normal thing, right? We have the pattern and song. Will go into depth into in the future. We have we have play and pause and stop, play and stop. We have record. You can record in a whole bunch of ways, right? Everything, notes on automation into an audio clip. Maybe you're recording your vocals, Edison. Maybe you want to do some extra editing to your vocals. We have this different sections that help us arrange our songs and work with things, or work with our patterns in general to bring out, the best results as possible. And we have, what else? We have this menu, right? This is basically the timeline, right? This is the timeline, and obviously we have the piano roll here. Then we have the channel rack. So basically the piano roll is the place where you can put in sounds, right? You can put in sounds. So I would put it on pattern, play a sound. Okay. So basically you put in sounds and their rhythmic patterns. Basically you can just arrange them. There are a whole bunch of other in-depth configurations you can do, but yes, this is it. And on the channel rack too, you can do similar things here. You just put in patterns, and then that should be it. You should be hearing sounds, the same patterns for the hi-hats. So basically we can come to the mixer. Now the mixer now handles the faders and all these things, right? So you have like a bunch of audios playing at the same time, and you just want to mix them. You want to level the volumes to try to make sure that everything is in balance. You want to pan them. You want to pan them to the left or to the right, right? Leveling the volumes, can do this with the faders. Yes, I think these things work with the mono and stereo type thing. I've not taken my time to understand these things yet because I don't use them that much, but yeah, that's something. So yeah, you can if you know what is actually useful, you can say that in the comment section. We learned something new. And what else? We have this section where you can actually apply things, effects into your mixer channel to help manipulate vocals and how everything works in general. Yes, and yeah, over here too, you can select the microphone you want to work with in a particular mixer. Yeah, so I can hear myself as usual, which I don't want. So yeah, so basically, yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? That's what I'm saying. So yes, and then over here we have our folder structure of a bunch of sounds, a bunch of one shots, a bunch of MIDI files, a bunch of sample packs, a bunch of instrumentals, loops and stuff. I mean, you can like just pick them up from here. You can pick them up from here and basically just apply. So yeah, I mean, in general, yeah, so just work with these things in general. Yes, now we can come to the timeline. The timeline is responsible for helping you arrange tracks in a certain order this part is actually a part where it helps you arrange your patterns, apply colors to them, stuff like that. But my main focus here is sending these things here. So let's say let me delete this. Okay, so this menu here is also one of the things we can it has the necessary tools for us to manipulate our timeline in general. So we have the pencil. The pencil helps us like add a new pattern or new sound to the timeline basically, and then the painter also does the same thing. I mean, they have a few differences, but everything they do is almost the same basically. Now this is just there to this is just there to delete. This is there to delete a bunch of things you don't want inside the timeline. We have the mute section. The mute section is basically available to cut out all the sounds you don't want to hear in the track as it's playing, and then you can unmute them later. And then we have this one. I think this one is there to to stretch out sounds. They go a bit, it's like stretch out sounds in general, right? I used it like once or twice. I don't think I use it that much. That's why I find it a little difficult to explain how it works. But let's get onto the things that we use more. This thing helps us select a bunch of things on the timeline, like I said. So this is just used to manipulate things on the timeline. So this one is the magnifying lens. So the magnifying lens helps you maximize the your timeline and see how things are going inside the timeline, basically. And then we have this one helps you to basically play a certain particular sound inside the timeline, so that you hear how it only that sounds like, basically. And this is here to handle the steps we take, the steps you want to take. It's the same thing for here, basically the same thing, right? So usually I don't touch this. I just come and touch this, right? So yes, that's basically what it is for the basics of how FL Studio works, right? So basically what you can do is I'm gonna leave my email inside the description, and then what we're going to do right now is that you're going to have to come up with something real quick. It could be any type of beat, right? Like you can come up with any type of beat and like send it to me through my email. I just want to hear what you can come up with this quick overview of how FL Studio works and everything, right? I'll be coming up with more beginner to advanced tutorials on how to work with FL Studio. I mean, mixing songs, mixing tracks and beats and stuff like that. So you can also have a feel of the professional certain when it comes to making music or producing your own type of music, basically. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you understood what I explained here. You can ask any of your questions in the comments and I'll be ready to answer them, and I'll be waiting for your beats in my email. Thank you very much.